Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Yeah, that'd be me. Hi, welcome. If I sound weary, I'm living in Donald Trump's America, and it's hard not to feel, frankly, weary. Yeah, I'm glad it's a Tuesday and my sister Susan's here, so maybe she's less weary. I don't know, Suze.
What do you expect me to do?
Well, oh God.
I don't know. I was listening to people. I thought, well, you better listen to something for a while and watch a few things. You know, you got to talk to people about stuff. And I was very surprised to hear someone saying what I have been saying. You know, we got to stop waiting for someone to try and organize us. We got to organize ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, we really do have to start pouring out into the streets. And the more people that die or lose their jobs, I mean, the stuff with killing all the universities by withholding, the grant money. Yeah, it's amazing. He's throwing millions and millions of people out of jobs and
yeah,
I don't know. What is it? Alabama is about to lose its biggest employer. I mean, how's this going for them?
Well, it's interesting that I see that all these actions he's taking are immediately the states that elected Democratic attorneys general, and that's a minority of the states. That's 22 of the 50 states have Democrats as attorney general. They are immediately, filing suit, and it's those attorneys general suits that are probably front and center in terms of the legal. But the reason
if they don't pay any attention to the decisions, what difference does it make?
Well, the reason I say this is that you mentioned Alabama. I'm not sure, whatever the red states, states in which the Republicans hold sway, are not joining in these suits and will not receive the benefits of a suit if it is. They will not. What's happening in these Republican states is that the governors, the senators, the office holders are left to seek exemptions. They're begging for, hey, did you realize this was doing this to us? They are not joining in the effort to stop the craziness. They are merely looking to exempt themselves, and there's no way that's going to work for them. I would think at some point.
Well, and Musk doesn't even understand that this is what he's doing. When told that he's stopping medical research and people are dying and, cancer trials are halted immediately, goes, no, I'm not. I mean, yes, he is.
Well, anyone who thought that Musk was a genius, sorry. Or what it shows is one can have a certain kind of intelligence and be one of the stupidest humans on Earth.
Well, and if I were the parent of one of, these little muskettes, or whatever they are, muskinis, I'd yank them home. I mean, they're putting themselves in so much danger, and this is going to be a bright flame.
What do you mean?
Because they are going to be holding in their brains too much information.
Well, I don't give a shit about any of those people, and most of them are too old. They're young, but they're too old for their parents to yank them anywhere. The youngest is 19, so that ain't going to happen.
No, doesn't that make you feel better that a 19-year-old is overhauling the State Department?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're supposed to be having a jaunty, happy talk.
No, it's impossible.
I don't. You see, the problem is we can't ignore it. We do have to get outraged, and we do have to get out there. I mean, and it doesn't matter where you are. we've gotta make clear, and I'm glad to hear that the congressional offices are being, just, avalanched with calls and emails and, in horror. But we've got to keep it up, and we have to start publicly demonstrating, even if the media refuses to cover it.
Well,
because
there's
been demonstrations all over the place, and you haven't heard boo about it.
No, that is true. So here's what
So it's up to us to tell these things. We've got to spread the word.
Yeah.
We've got to mobilize.
Well,
we've got to plan the marches.
Susan, here's the best one I've heard yet. Well, there's been two that I mentioned yesterday. And one is too far away. It's in April. It's on the anniversary of Lexington and Concord, when the first shots were fired in the American Revolution, where Americans stood up and said, no king's going to rule us. And that's coming up in April. And the idea is that we need to have mass demonstrations in every city and town in this country on that date. Now it's a good date. It's the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution beginning. So that's something to hook on to.
That's a date to keep in mind.
It's a date to keep in mind, and it gives us the time to organize something big in every city. And because it's every city, that means there's got to be local organizations, but somebody's got to somehow pull all of that together. The other one that I really like is an economic blackout, a strike, economic strike on February 28th. Now that's coming up, where Americans show these SOBs, hey, we got the money, and we will shut this place down. We will keep the money in our pockets. Just look. And for 24 hours, you don't use your credit card, a debit card. You do not go through a drive-through. You keep your money in your pocket. If you need gas, forget about it. The only thing you spend a dime on is an emergency, like a medicine or something. And if hundreds of millions of Americans were to do that, that would be huge. And what's wonderful about it is it doesn't require people getting up, taken to the streets. It just
requires that they don't order Grubhub.
That's right. Just don't go and order anything on your freaking computer.
Don't go shopping online.
Not online, not in a store, nowhere. Show the power of our collective purse. Because that's all they think of us, is picking our pockets anyway. So show that power. And then if they don't respond, if not, it'll get the corporation's attention for sure. If they don't respond, you can do it again. I find that to be really a powerful thing. And that
I do too.
Okay, well, so that's something we can all organize.
Those are consumer tariffs.
Okay, so just that is something that we can, everybody tell 10 people, put it on your Facebook or however you talk to people, February 28th, not a dime. You can do it now, and let's start growing that, okay? Sue, spread the word on that one. That one's a good one.
I will do that. I will do that.
It's a 24-hour economic blackout. And you can prepare for it by getting whatever things you do need the days before. And believe it or not, for some Americans, this will be a wondrous experience to literally not spend any money for a measly 24 hours. I love it.
Just go shopping the day before, pretend like you're going to have a blizzard, and go and get everything you need the day before, so you're all ready.
You know, it's astonishing to know that some people can go weeks without spending any money.
Well, they have to. They don't have any.
Well, even that, no, even if you have it, you don't have to spend it. We're nuts. We are nuts.
But here's how this isn't going to work. We have to turn off. We have to lock all of any activity. I would suggest you lock your cards for that day, because you have subscriptions that are going to post whether you do it or not.
Don't complicate it.
No, you can just go on. You can just go to your bank and put a hold on your card, so nothing can be charged on it for 24 hours.
I'm just saying,
simple.
For some people, if you start putting in that kind of fine print, they'll tune out. They'll say,
well,
"Oh,
but
I
if
can't
they don't do it, the economic, a huge swath of the economic benefit will be depleted."
Okay, but at the very, I fine, but at the very least,
don't do any more.
That's right.
But it's very simple not to even do that. You just lock your card for that 24 hours. All your cards.
Now,
then even if you goof, you can't goof. I mean,
Speaking of,
it's like closing the door on the safe and turning the dial.
So what's going on in terms of, I've read a few people saying that, quite clearly, we're not only witnessing the attempt to dismantle our government, but we're looking at thieves. I mean, just thievery.
No, thieves.
Yeah.
Salivating over Gaza and the resort it could be.
So here's something I want to point out, and I don't understand the Bitcoin crapola, okay? But I noticed and read that Trump is now in that business.
Oh, yeah, Musk is going to get in that business,
and Musk
too.
is getting, so here's somebody saying, can we please start connecting the dots? I can't remember if this was Richardson or Reich. Just hear me out. This is literal.
And they disbanded the Consumer Protection
That's right. Okay,
Agency.
Susan. That's right. Exactly right. That if you're about to pull a huge heist, what would you do first? Right. Get rid of the cops. And that's what they've done. So last week, Trump's media, the one that owns Truth Social, it's Trump's media and technology group. He, of course, owns it. All that money comes to him. Announced new plans that it is now going to be selling Bitcoin and other financial products. It's going to be a bank. It's going to have ETF. See, I don't understand this shit. Bitcoin exchange traded fund. And as soon as he put that out, of course, its value jumped and he got richer right there.
Yeah. No,
who's the CEO of Trump Media? You might have missed this little one. Former Devin Nunes, former congressman
for a long time.
from California. Yeah. And he put out, this gives you, they're looking for patriots wanting to get away from the usual banking. This gives you a competitive alternative to the woke funds and debanking problems that you find throughout the market. Debanking, it's one of their things now.
Because Trump can't get a loan.
That's right. Well, no, and he wants to own that. So it's okay. So listen to this. No, it just gets weak, Suze. It's so unbelievable.
No, it's not unbelievable.
Okay, 2 weeks ago, the guy who's probably going to be running the FBI, that would be Kash Patel, was given over 25,000 shares in Trump media.
Because it's legal.
That's according to a Securities and Exchange Commission filing, right?
Okay. Well, I hope he's paying taxes.
Well,
on
it doesn't
that. I
matter.
mean,
They are now worth. They
Yeah.
are worth almost $1 million.
Sure.
Kash Patel was given that money. Why?
To do well, it's a transaction, Lynn.
That's right. He's now, yeah, that's right. So
just like Mayor Eric Roberts of New York, it's a transaction.
They're owned, exactly. So this
mafia works.
This all coincides with the shuttering of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and Musk gleefully wrote on his Twitter, CFPB. That's the acronym. CFPB, RIP.
Right.
They're children.
And so long, suckers, consumers.
Yeah. So,
and by consumers, I mean all of us.
All of us. So this means
consumers.
The federal government, they have disbanded the governmental agency that was there to protect us from financial misdeeds like they're about to perpetrate. The CFPB exists no longer. It literally, its employees that went to work Sunday, because some did, they were turned away. They can't even get in to retrieve their stuff. And again, just keep connecting the dots. You shut down the cops that would have put the kibosh on some of this crypto crap that these guys are intent on. And Musk, Musk has stated that he wants to create, one of his bright ideas is to create what he calls an everything app. And that could be used for all of our financial transactions with a push of your finger on your phone. Every single one of your transactions. And Zuckerberg.
And they'd all enrich,
Yeah, and Zuckerberg and other of these venture capitalist types are intent on doing the same thing. They're racing each other to see who's going to get it first. And again, connect the dots. Here you have the billionaires, the oligarchy, competitively, sort of. They're racing each other in the open, right in front of us.
Oh yeah. Oh, wait a minute. You left out Elon doing the hostile takeover of
Sam Altman.
Because Sam Altman can't be trusted to handle it properly in the interest of the American people. This from Elon Musk.
Yeah. So, I think this is Robert Reich writing. It's bad enough that Trump and Musk are making room for their own personal financial products and those of their major backers after getting rid of the financial police. But Trump's financial products are obvious invitations to people and corporations wanting to curry favor
pay
with
him
him.
off. It's like the hotel in Washington, D.C.
Outright open bribery and extortion, without a doubt.
Oh, wait! In the column of irony, there's Chief Justice Roberts out there complaining that there's no respect for federal courts.
Oh my God! So you mentioned.
And the second thing in irony, there are complaints that there were no white people in the halftime show.
Well, of course. Yeah, of
Well,
course.
I mean, those who opposed
Well,
DEI were upset there were no white people
and not only that, you
in
had
a show about the Black experience.
Samuel Jackson, a black guy dressed up as Uncle Sam, and and right out there in their faces saying, hey, be careful, too ghetto, too ghetto. They knew. I
Yeah,
mean,
I know. Of course they knew
it was subversive as all hell.
It was totally subversive. I was sitting
it.
there wishing that my ancient ears could actually understand it better, but I sure got what he was saying.
Yeah.
The visuals were plenty.
Yeah.
That those writhing, powerful dance moves that they were doing, that, it was, I don't know anyone that watched that with half an open mind.
At one point making up, the American flag.
Yes.
And then, raising their fists in a black power suit from the American flag. I have to tell you, that people's heads were exploding left, right, and center. I just loved it. I
was crying.
Okay.
And then there's Serena.
Yeah.
And they're also mad at.
Yeah, well, I had to read later what a lot of the stuff they were up to was about. But, that guy who did it, for those of, there's people dismiss, oh, well, there's these rappers. Hey, that rapper has an effing Pulitzer Prize.
He's a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yeah. He's got a Pulitzer Prize. Right.
Because what he's saying is said beautifully and is worthy of a literary prize.
Well, I think he got it for music, Suze, but it's, music and lyrics, but it's,
Well, it's music and lyrics. It's like Dylan. I mean, it's because it's the product.
He's and so if you're of a mind to listen to his music and or Google the lyrics so you can see the poetry and what he is saying. And even then you'll have some trouble because he's speaking a kind of English that white folks might have some difficulty comprehending.
Well, it's coded.
But I'm thinking it's
culture.
It's like if you read Shakespeare, you have trouble. It's English, but you
need
trouble.
You need footnotes.
Yeah, you might need some footnotes. Exactly right. So Susan had mentioned earlier that the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, who's under indictment for all kinds of malfeasance in office, bribery, misusing his, it's a kind of office holder that Donald Trump could love. It doesn't.
Well, he was good faith. He was good friends with that pastor that was robbed on the Bima.
The guy who got robbed during his he was a good pal of his.
And who's now in jail, I do believe.
No, these guys were made for each other. And lo and behold, it was quite clear that Adams immediately started courting Trump. And Trump understood. And so the two now, there's a transaction here. Trump's Justice Department, somebody got to change that name. Trump's Justice Department, which is now pretty much, you've got Bondi in there as the AG, but you still have as the acting Deputy Attorney General Trump's criminal lawyer, a guy named Bovey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's the one who put out the memo that said that the prosecutors in New York must drop the charges against Eric Adams. And he came up with a whole bunch of bogus reasons why he was ordering the charges against him to be dropped. And he said in part it's because he needs to be free. He can't be spending his time fending off these accusations. He needs to be free, here's a quote, to devote full attention and resources to addressing illegal immigration in New York City. So they are saying to him, you help us in our roundups in your fair city, and we just might help you, because this is not a done deal. It's left open. It was just a stoppage until the election that he is running in. So what essentially is going on here again is a kind of extortion.
It's blackmail.
Yeah,
It's
Bove
extortion, yeah.
and Trump are holding over Mayor Adams' head the possibility that they'll re-indict him if he does not do everything they want him to do while he is still in office. If he does do what they want him to do, they'll probably let him go. That's what's happening.
All right, so I just want to say again that I think all of our reactions were normal when we retreated and hid under our beds for a month. I think that's totally normal. I think at this point we have to understand that time is over.
That's right.
And we have to start supporting the systems that we want to survive. So the midterms are coming up. People are already running. We need to not withhold our funds because the Democrats aren't doing what they want to do. We want them to do. We don't know what they're doing. Please understand there's a lot happening behind closed doors. We don't know what they're doing. They need time to figure out an efficacious way to respond. We, in the meantime, have our own job to save our own country, and we can't leave it up to the few schmoes that are up there. This is our time. We actually have to do something. So if all we can do is be supportive of the people who we think will do a better job at this and get them elected so we can turn the House, then that's what we should do. We should not be hiding any longer. We should mobilize in any way that we can, and that's simply what we have to figure out. What's best for us to do? Write letters, call, send money, get in the streets, whatever it is. The more we do, we lost. So big deal. Stand up, just like we tell our kids.
Yeah, okay, and I just want to reiterate for those of us who are in Pennsylvania that while we might have a Democratic governor in Shapiro, the voters of Pennsylvania this last time around, in their infinite wisdom, not only voted for Donald Trump, but we in Pennsylvania now have a Trumper as our state attorney general. They elected a guy named, you might recall, this shaved-headed guy, tough on crime. His name is Sunday. That's our AG. And we, Pennsylvania, are not involved in pushing back as a state because he has not joined any of these lawsuits against the Trump administration, these illegal, unconstitutional power grabs. We are not party, the people of Pennsylvania. I just want you to know. So everyone who didn't vote for DePasquale said, Sunday, whatever, who did all of that, we are now so close to being a red state ourselves. So we got a lot of work to do. Here. Just saying. Unbelievable. By the way, it's now official. The Gulf of America is on, that's it. It's now the official U.S. name. It's on Google Maps. Unbelievable. Just saying.
Yeah, well, did you hear what Pritzker did?
JD? No.
Yeah. JD changed the name of Lake Michigan to Lake Illinois, and he's taking over Green Bay for security reasons.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he had a proclamation, stood in Bay, very serious.
What the hell? Yeah. Why not? Unbelievable. We should have a laugh here and there.
Yeah. Well, I thought I am more and more impressed by this man, actually. When he got in, I just saw him as the winning billionaire, but he's really done a good job, and when he does lighthearted things like this, his timing is so good. It's good for morale, it's okay, come on, we'll fight back.
Yeah.
And it's I'm impressed. He's a chip off his uncle's block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good people. I agree. He should get on Wegovy and lose some weight.
Yeah. Well.
No,
I mean,
serious.
if ever, here I am in my armchair psychology, but if ever there was classic example as overweight as protection. His father committed suicide. His mother was an alcoholic. I mean, this was one little tragic boy. Mm-hmm. So it's not hard to imagine that food is comfort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We should say that Susan.
You think he could take one of those drugs, and then it would turn that off?
Well, I just want to say that we have some sense of Pritzker's because of when our dad went away to college. He went to Northwestern University, and he had just lost his father, and then within months he lost his mother. So he was a freshman in college and orphaned. And he joined a fraternity, a Jewish fraternity, and that became his family. And the guy he was closest to, one of them, was a guy named Jay Pritzker, whose family lived in Chicago. And Jay Pritzker was 16 years old, and he was in college, which said something about he was just brilliant. But Jay and my dad became friends, and Jay Pritzker brought my father to his home often for the Jewish holidays. So Dad,
the Pritzkers sort of adopted him.
They cared for this orphaned boy, and Jay Pritzker went on to be, I think he was the most his dad, the home that my father went to, the Pritzkers were already making comfortable.
They were already a foundational Chicago family.
Yeah, Jewish family, because that's a different
Jewish family, yeah.
And then Jay ended up being extremely successful and owning.
And that's the Hyatt hotel chain. Yeah.
That's the Hyatt hotels that he owned, and also instituted the Pritzker Awards, which are the architecture awards. Very philanthropic. And Jay's brother, right, who's the father of the governor.
Of our governor, the Illinois governor, yes.
Right. So I know that when
and Blagojevich got a pardon yesterday.
Oh, of course he did. Now that's the former governor, the former crook governor of Illinois,
who was selling Obama's Senate seat or something.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing.
That's right. When Obama, left the Senate to be the president, the governor of the state gets to, and he was putting out bids. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Well, there's a rich history in Chicago, but just and the Pritzkers, there have been they continue to be a really good family. I mean, there's a few, but most of them are very civic minded and smart.
Well, I believe one of the sisters, I think Penny. Penny was very, very much involved in Obama's administration. When our dad was turning, what was it, 75 or
70?
Oh my God,
70.
It's too funny.
That's all.
I can't believe that. I figured he was as good as dead, so I was still in TV then, and I put together a video for him.
And, a great video.
Yeah, it was. It was made out of such love, but it was a lot of work, and I traveled to Chicago to interview Jay Pritzker, who I had never personally met. And just getting in touch with him was difficult. I wasn't going to ask this was a surprise for my father, so there was no way to use him. So I did, though, of course, drop my dad's name to get some attention. And sure enough, that did it. I had been told Pritzker does not give any interviews. You cannot see him. There is no way. But then when I somehow got through to a secretary who said Norman Miller's daughter, I got in. And so I did spend some time with him in his office and what a delightful, funny guy. And one of the stories he told about our dad was that
and this is an on-camera interview that he was giving you, but he knew it was for private purposes.
Yeah. But I can't he put it so cutely. He said, well, if any of us were in need of some pharmaceuticals, there was never any doubt of where we could procure them. And that was
we would go to Norm Miller's
room for any and I was shocked. I said, "What?"
Well, no, but it was because he was a Miller, so he was a hypochondriac. He had pills for this and pills for that, and then he kept injuring himself.
That's true. He had a lot of painkillers and stuff like that. That's
true.
I'm
sure he had a rich medicine cabinet.
Oh God. But so, yeah, anyway, they're both gone. So that's how, listen, sorry, this is us trying to keep from talking about this other stuff.
No, but it's one of the things that I keep thinking one of us should sit down and write a book, because each of us in the family have had an unreasonable number of one-on-ones with very famous people for no good reason.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, you had more reason because you were in the business where you might do it, but I certainly was not.
That I don't have the energy, so forget about it.
I know, well, me neither.
Okay, let's take.
But but they're good stories.
I know they're good stories, so we'll tell them when we can. But I'm not gonna. Let's take a call.
Oh, good idea.
I think so too. Hello? You got any good stories? Hello? How come nothing's happening?
Hello? Because they're listening to the radio and they don't know that we're saying
hi.
Lynn?
Yeah. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, this is Ed from downtown. I was part of a small group that protested at McCormick's office on Friday.
Oh, yeah, good for you.
We were outside on Grand Street. It was public. We didn't get, there were only about 10 or 15, between 10 and 15. It wasn't as many the day before at Fetterman's. I guess people maybe gave up on McCormick. But they knew in advance that we were going to be there, and the office was closed till we were supposed to be there 1:30 to 2:30. The office was closed till 2:45, so they wouldn't have to confront any of us.
Yeah. Where did I
But
hear?
I do want to say WTAE did cover on one of their afternoon shows. They did a very good job of covering it. Captured every one of our signs, and he photographed it so you couldn't tell that it was a real small group.
Oh, that's good.
So they did. It was on one of the afternoons.
Yes, that's good.
Way to go.
They did do a good. The guy that was there did do a good job, and he listened. The man who organized it, he listened to him and gave part of his speech on camera.
That's good.
And then they showed. So they did do on their afternoon news. They did do a good job covering it.
But I guess the broadcast networks news are not covering these. Like there was a big demonstration in front of the Treasury Department in DC, and that didn't make the news.
But MSNBC has been covering it, but maybe they're the only one that.
Yeah, but that doesn't even count because they're
I know
they're singing to the choir. But good for you.
I stopped watching CNN after the Jim Acosta incident.
Oh God. Well, listen. Good for you. Keep it up. And let's.
Well, I hope more people next time there's something at his place. I hope there's more people.
I hope so too. I hope
just
get bigger.
Thank you for doing this. I mean, thank you for your service.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
Wish you had more people to thank, but thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Well, thank you, Lynn, for your service, and Susan, your service too, in publicizing everything.
All right.
Knowing that we have a place that we can listen to that's, the field.
Well, next time, listen, next time you're aware of something, let me know so I can at least publicize it. I did not know about that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. And I do want to say I do miss Andrea Mitchell because I thought she always did very incisive interviews on her program. So it's a little change of pace from what you said last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she stayed too long at the fair, but yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Well, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing for us in Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Well. So, anyway.
Yeah.
There
was this cute picture, I think, on the Green Bay Press Gazette site of a man. No, it couldn't have been. It must have been on Facebook or something. But it was from Green Bay, a guy that was just stopped and started singing along with a choir that was just out on the road singing, in protest. He said it felt great.
Oh, God.
And that was the winter in Green Bay.
Yeah. God help us. Anyway, I have a few other things we can get to. Brett Stevens, who drives me crazy, but I do like to. He is an op-ed guy for New York Times, and used to be with the Wall Street Journal, and stakes out a pretty conservative point of view.
Yeah.
And prior to the election was hemming and hawing about who to vote for, couldn't stand Kamala, didn't like Trump, but he's politically he was more comfortable with obviously the Republican candidate. And his equivocation just drove me insane. And in a joint column he does with Gail Collins today in the Times, he says about Trump, she accuses him of having been pro-Trump, and he says, "I'm not. He scares me. There are days when I wake up and think, if this goes on like this for 4 years or even 4 months, we're going to be living in an unrecognizable republic." And I'm thinking, well, you son of a...
Duh. See, every time one of these guys comes around, like, what part of this did you not know before?
Exactly.
I mean, they told you that They handed you the goddamn roadmap, and you said, nah, because Trump said, oh no, I don't know these people, and
Right.
and you believed him. I mean, this is just every time someone says something like that, if I were within punching range, they'd get punched.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because they gambled our lives, for whatever it was they wanted, our country for whatever it was they wanted, when they each and every one of them knew damn well what was going to happen. Their particular greed was more important.
Yeah. Hey, of all the incompetent appointments Trump has made, and I mean, the head spins, one of the most laughably incompetent happened, I think, over the weekend when he put himself in charge of the Kennedy Center.
Oh, the Kennedy Performing Arts Center.
Oh, God.
What? Well, that it's going to shutter because
Yeah.
who's going to perform?
Who? Kid Rock? Who? Kid Rock.
I mean, most of the Kennedy Center are serious plays and symphony, and what's he going to mess with?
Well, he doesn't like that stuff.
Well,
and it's it's easy to make.
Kid Rock got mad when he got on the stage, and no one applauded it.
No,
so he said "fuck you all" and got off.
I don't think that was Kid Rock. I don't think that was
so,
Kid
wasn't
Rock.
It?
No, I think it was Miley Cyrus's father.
No, this just happened. Miley Cyrus's father was at
the inauguration.
This just happened.
God. But the Kennedy Center, it seems funny, but it's not.
No.
He's going after everything. I mean, the science, the arts.
Now you only get to hear approved arts, approved, fake science, approved news. What does this sound like?
Yeah,
democracy.
So here's his quote. So we took over the Kennedy Center. We didn't like what they were showing, like he ever went, and various other things, he said. But we have, I guess, a whole new group of people going in. I'm going to be chairman, and we're going to make sure that it's good, and it's not going to be woke. And a guy who is the Pulitzer Prize-winning architecture and art critic for the Washington Post wrote a piece about how, a lot of people don't appreciate the dangers of this kind of going after the arts, but artists do.
Well, the arts are subversive by their very nature.
That's right. Artists sure as hell do.
And we give you the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
And he wrote this. When you look at potential dystopic futures, often the path from here to there is made possible because everyone individually does what seems to be safe in the short term. And this is what we've been saying, this, people acquiescing before they're even asked anything. It's like pre-censorship. We'll do it ourselves. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to put on that play. I'm not going to do this thing. And that's the beginning of the end. And he finishes with this story. Apparently, there was a concert last week at the Library of Congress, who would think? And it was a recital by a singer who sang songs by a German-Austrian anti-fascist composer who was born in 1898. The guy's name was Hans Eisler. And this man, Eisler, got out of Germany with his life. He fled the Nazis, and he came to the United States for refuge in 1938. Now, here's something interesting. Here's an anti-fascist running from Germany to the welcoming arms of the United States. But 10 years later, the United States is in the throes of a right-wing spasmodic movement, McCarthyism. And within 10 years, this guy, the survivor from Germany, got hauled before McCarthy's House Committee on Un-American Activities, and he was deported for his support of left-wing causes. He came as an anti-fascist. We took him in. 10 years later, we threw him out because he was an anti-fascist. And his music was being sung last week at the Library of Congress. And believe it or not, you can put that down as an act of defiance. Eisler's favorite lyricist, you'll have heard of his name, Bertolt Brecht, constantly challenged fascism and the kind of cynical patriotism that Republicans traffic in. And this critic for the Post who had gone to the concert said, "It was bracing to hear history glistening like a fresh bloody wound, and one wondered if anyone would complain and how long it would be before this kind of concert elicits scrutiny if it isn't scuttled altogether." Fascism in America. Yeah. Rust Belt saying he'll have the Village People at the Kennedy Center. Yeah. They'll be in residence. Yeah. So, guys, yeah. It's all happening. One thing I didn't acknowledge last week, and, amidst the torrent of horror, and I had wanted to, I had said that one of the people that Trump has fired and gone after was the only woman who heads one of the military factions. Faction isn't the right word. The U.S. Coast Guard was a woman. That was the first U.S. Commandant of the Coast Guard. Her name was Linda Fagan. Out. No reason given other than too woke. I guess she had a vulva. And here's what I didn't add that's just unbelievable. She went to her house.
Oh, she's the one they did that to.
She's a 4-star admiral. And she was told she had 3 hours to get out of her home that came with being the commandant. 3 hours. She grabbed what she could, and let's hope that they send the rest of it. Can you imagine? See, here's the thing. No one could defend people acting with that kind of insane.
Well, it's extra legal. It's not, none of this within the law and the processes and procedures of the departments and services in which they are occurring. None of this should be possible.
Yeah. Well,
but it's do this first, wait for the lawsuit, then refuse to obey the court order. I mean, now they've got up that the judge has ordered them to restore the NIH, funding for all of these
research,
medical grants and stuff. But there have been other injunctions and demands for that from the federal courts, and none of them have been followed.
Well, you know what? And the thing is, these are organized, it turns out the University of Pittsburgh is the 6th largest recipient of NIH grants in the country. It's because it does so much medical research. It was where Jonas Salk came up with a polio vaccine, and they are reeling. They don't, and
they're about to be put out of business.
Well, this stop, start, they can't, you cannot, a judge, the Trump administration does this thing, then a judge 3 days later says, no, you can't, and yet it stays up in the air. How is a university supposed to budget or say yes? I mean, all this life-saving medical research goes up in flames. It's just mind blowing. I don't know. I was surprised to see the amount of money that Pitt gets, something like $700 million a year from the NIH. It's huge.
Yeah, that's a sizable amount to make up.
Oh yeah. And I thought, well, CMU must get a ton, and no, they don't. They get like 80 million. I forget what the number was, but that's because CMU's research is not medical generally, and medical is what the NIH is putting out. So that's where Pitt with UPMC Medical Center, that's why they're getting the medical stuff. CMU is getting the stuff that'll, end the world. All the computer stuff, the AI stuff, that's where
and the robotic stuff, yeah.
The robotic stuff, that's where their money is coming from. Wow. So, yeah, there's all of that. Well, I'm glad the Eagles won, aren't you, Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Spread it around.
Yeah, it's like, how I feel about the dynastic team of the moment losing. I always think it's good for business.
I do too.
It's somebody else's turn. People get tired of the same old team.
Yeah.
And frankly, the Chiefs have been sort of lousy all year, yet winning.
It's odd. They always
that's how the Packers were. They were lousy all year, yet they won. But
yeah,
that's just they. Yeah, they lost to the better team. I didn't watch.
Oh no,
I turned on.
I did, but then it just got to be too much. I mean, I like. No,
I just watched the halftime show, and that was it.
Well, that was good. So yeah, there's all of that. Anyway, all righty. God damn it. So you're going up to Green Bay?
I am. It's snowing a little bit, but
you got those storms. By the time. Yeah, I would. I had a 45-minute conversation with Mom yesterday.
Yay!
Isn't that something? Because she can't hear. Well. She's deaf, and we did it. I mean, every once in a while she'd say, "Wait a minute, let me try my other ear." And I said, "No, do your right ear. It's your right ear. Every time you put it on your left, you can't hear a word." And then she'd put it back on her right ear, and we did it. She was fully engaged.
Oh, I'm so glad I shared that little trick with you.
Yeah, I told her. I said, "No, try your other ear." And and we had a really nice conversation. It was wonderful. So
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Well, must have been nice for her, too.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, all righty, Suze, thanks. Safe travels.
All right, well, on that note, when I get there, today or tomorrow, we'll call you again. Okay.
Okay, and hey, just remember, no show next Tuesday.
Right.
Because I won't be up to it. Okay?
No, you will not.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Talk soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. And you guys, reminder to you too, that I have 2 more shows this week, and then I have an appointment with a guy with a scalpel. Yes. Ugh. I was thinking, I've seen the surgeon. Obviously, you meet with these people. And when I met with him, he had his mask on, he had a mask on the whole time. And I don't know why it's in my head, I've been thinking, I'm going to ask him to just slip his mask down for it when I'm in the OR, when they're about to take me out. Could you please, I want to see his face. I want to, some guy is about to literally enter my body. I'd like to see his face. I've heard his voice. I've shaken his hand. Seems like a nice guy. But I wonder if he will, or if because he's in the OR, he'll say, well, that's really not. But I am gonna ask. That will be my, my final request. Could I see your face? I hope he'll show me. I've seen pictures of him. It's a nice face. I'd just like to see it before he does what he's going to do. Okay, that's it for me for now. Tomorrow. And believe me, I'm looking for brighter things to talk about. I just can't find them.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.